The American people deserve to get to know the people who want to lead them, and I think it's shameful for Kamala Harris, but increasingly for the media, that she's taking a basement strategy of running from reporters instead of getting in front of them, answering tough questions about her record, and letting the American people know who she is.
Boy, J.D. Vance hit the nail on the head on this one. This video is brought to you by TatumStore.com. TatumStore.com. Get the merch link in the description section. Like and subscribe to the channel. Y'all already know what to do. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, J.D. Vance get caught on the airplane and reporters. I mean, this is a scheduled thing, and I think it's set up this way to ask questions on the airplane to various candidates and political personalities. And J.D. Vance is here traveling. Obviously, you can see him here with MAGA, MAGA, MAGA everywhere. And I don't think this is a regular commercial airliner, right? So they asked him the questions, and I think that he did a really good job at explaining this. This is one thing that J.D. Vance excels in, is that he's very articulate, he's very smart and quick, and he has a good command, presence, and voice. And he served in the military. He's a good family man. Like, he got a lot of things going for him that I think that if the media wasn't disingenuous, that he would actually shine through. And so he was asked questions by the media, and I think he knocked it out of the park. Wait till the end, because I think he put the icing on the cake at the very end of this. And I think everybody that's listening is going to agree with what I'm saying. Roll the clip.
Look, we're here in Philadelphia to highlight the Americans who have suffered under Kamala Harris's policies, especially Kamala Harris's border policies. To remind you, she, on day one, suspended deportations, proposed mass amnesty for millions of illegal aliens. She stopped construction of the border wall, and she stopped the Remain in Mexico policy that had kept a lot of Americans safe. Now, today we're going to talk to a lot of Americans who have suffered and had children and loved ones who have died because of these border policies. It has led to record fentanyl overdoses in our country. It's led to a lot of migrant crime from people who shouldn't even be here. And it's, of course, driven up the price of housing for a lot of Americans who shouldn't have to compete with 20 million illegal aliens for scarce homes. Obviously, the big news of the day is that Tim Walz has been nominated as the VP, or is now the presumptive nominee, I should say, for Kamala Harris. My view on it is it just highlights how radical Kamala Harris is. This is a person who listened to the Hamas wing of her own party and selecting a nominee. This is a guy who's proposed shipping more manufacturing jobs to China, who wants to make the American people more reliant on garbage energy instead of good American energy, and has proposed defunding the police just as Kamala Harris does. I think it's interesting, actually. They make an interesting tag team because, of course, Tim Walz allowed rioters to burn down Minneapolis in the summer of 2020, and then the few who got caught, Kamala Harris helped bail them out of jail. So it is more instructive for what it says about Kamala Harris, that she doesn't care about the border, she doesn't care about crime, she doesn't care about American energy, and most importantly, she doesn't care about the Americans who have been made to suffer under those policies. I'll take a couple questions, then we're going to hit the road and go to this press conference. Yeah.
Would show that it's anti-Semitism. The reason why you believe Kamala Harris didn't choose Josh Shapiro is doing that.
Well, it's not what I believe. It's what the Democratic leadership has said. Many people said repeatedly that the reason Kamala Harris was going away from the Josh Shapiro selection is because they were worried about anti-Semitism. They were worried about certain voters. They were worried about some of the leaders and the grassroots activists in their party wouldn't take a Jewish nominee. I think it's despicable. I think it's disgusting, but that is right out of the words of many members of the Democratic leadership. And so now we have Tim Walz, but again, most importantly, we have Kamala Harris. Her policies have been a disaster, and they will remain so if the American people give her a promotion.
I'm going to let him finish, and he's getting to his point that I think is groundbreaking, in my opinion. But while he was talking, this occurred to me, that this election is going to come down to the common sense factor, which I'm afraid a lot of people don't have. When you listen to J.D. Vance, when you listen to Donald Trump, which J.D. Vance is a much better orator than Donald Trump, but if you listen to our side, the conservative side, they are talking about policy positions that's going to either make or break the United States of America. Like legitimate conversations about things that actually matter to the working class people. Kamala Harris is on emotionalism. That side is pushing, she's the first woman. She's the first black Indian woman. She has momentum. She's not old and decrepit. She was an AKA, Black Women Power. Comedians for Kamala. Like, it's all hoopla, and it has nothing to do with policies that actually affect the lives of the everyday person. So are people are smart enough to say, I care about policies over popularity? Donald Trump is incredibly popular, don't get it wrong. But are they going to go with policy or are they going to go with emotionalism? And that's the thing that I see in this election.
Senator,
Yeah.
have you or Governor Walz reached out to one another? I know when you were just you're going to be, you guys have reached out.
I actually, on the way to the flight in Cincinnati, I guess in northern Kentucky, I actually called Tim Walz. I left a voicemail. I didn't get him, but I just said, look, congratulations. Look forward to a robust conversation and enjoy the ride. And maybe he'll call me back. Maybe he won't. Yeah.
Senator, excuse me.
Yeah.
The Governor and Vice President Harris are expected to take a battleground state tour over the next couple of days.
Sure.
Former President Trump won't be making a public campaign appearance until Friday in Montana. Is that a missed opportunity?
No, look, I think I'm making a number of public appearances over the next few days just to drive home the fact that Kamala Harris's policy have been such a failure for normal Americans. I know the president's very busy over the next few days. One of the things you've got to do is, of course, get out there and speak to people and speak to reporters. A final thing that you have to do, of course, is raise the resources, and I know the president's very busy doing exactly that. So he and I are taking a divide and conquer strategy to this campaign. Sometimes we obviously do events together, but I think we're going to use the fact that we have two people who can both get out there and prosecute a message. We're going to hit the road, but I really want to make just one final observation. I know most of you. I like all of you as people, or at least I like the ones of you that I know. I think that you guys have got to do a better job at actually forcing Kamala Harris to answer questions. This is a person who's been the presumptive Democrat nominee for 16 days. She hasn't taken a single real question from a reporter. The American people deserve to get to know the people who want to lead them, and I think it's shameful for Kamala Harris, but increasingly for the media, that she's taking a basement strategy of running from reporters instead of getting in front of them, answering tough questions about her record, and letting the American people know who she is. President Trump and I take hostile questions, we take non-hostile questions, we get out there and talk to people because we respect the American people enough to want to persuade them and not to try to run from them. So I think you guys got to do a better job. That's my humble opinion.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
100%. I think the media apparatus is focused on shielding this woman from, really getting the criticism she deserved. Donald Trump was asked about his sex life, right? What he was doing, his nefarious sexual misdeeds. Kamala Harris definitely needs to be asked about her sleeping with Willie Brown, a married man, to get promotions on her job. Like, that is 100% fair game. Donald Trump got caught on the mic talking about grabbing by this man admitted that he proposed that she had an affair with him to get leverage in the upper mobility of her career. People should challenge Kamala on that. They did it to Trump. People should challenge her, claiming that she was an Indian and all this other stuff. Like, we reporters need to challenge her too. And hopefully they have a fruitful debate and they do it in a situation where somebody's going to ask Trump hard questions and they're going to ask Kamala hard questions. I look forward to the day that happens. Shout out to JD Vance, man. Look, I'm on y'all side. I didn't know if JD Vance would be the right person to Trump to pick, but man, since he picked him, I want y'all to win. I'll see y'all in the next one. I'm out.